Hey, good morning. It's October 26, 2022. Welcome to UGG TV. If you like, I'll give you our phone number. It's 800-753-8534. 800-753-8534. Give us a call. I got a lot of comments last night on the riddle, and we're going to go over that here in a moment. But first of all, I want to share with you, the stock market news. And what we see right now is that U.S. stocks wavered this morning after reactions to weak earnings from Alphabet, which is Google, and Microsoft. We're talking about these are all tech stocks, and it's now raising concerns that slowing output could dent corporate profits in the coming months. So we've been talking about all of this, and this is exactly what the markets are starting to show. And the technology-heavy NASDAQ composite plummeted by as much as 2% in early trading, and the S&P 500, which is the GSPC, inched lower at 0.2%, while the Dow Jones Industrial Average was ticked higher by 0.7%. So markets are a little shaky this morning, and I had a feeling after looking at the reserves from the repo last night, it dropped down quite a bit. So it'll be interesting to see how this day ends up pulling out. But let's get away from the stock market because you already know what we think about the market and anything that isn't real. And this is why we're in gold and silver, because it's the only thing that is considered real money. Because when you go to exchange it, you exchange it for more value later on. Andy, Robert, did you guys watch the Oz and Fetterman debate last night? Oh my! Did you see some of it?
I saw a few clips of Fetterman, and
wow,
he had brain damage surgery or something.
Well, he had a stroke.
Yeah, stroke. That's right. Yeah,
he's lucky to be walking after that stroke, but he doesn't.
Really,
I don't think he should be doing anything with the Senate at all. That guy, first of all, in his thoughts. I mean,
he can't make clear.
He can't make clear thoughts. He can't do anything. And then his what he wants to do is just totally destroy anything and everything. He wants to let criminals out of prison.
Yeah.
He wants 38. Listen. If a woman is 38 weeks pregnant, he's up for abortion on that.
Well, that's all.
38 weeks.
That's all of the Democratic Party's position, that they support any kind of abortion right up until the moment of birth. That's the Democratic Party's position, which is astonishing that people accept that, and that's accepted by a major party. That's their view, but. He just spouts all the Democratic points of views, but you could see, his brain is really not there.
Not at all. Not at all. And there's a lot more news that's out right now. Remember we talked about yesterday about how the Democrats there were 30 House Democrats, and Jayapal, who is a Democrat in the House committee out of D.C. Anyway, all of a sudden, they've turned around, and now what they want is they retracted what they stated about ceasefire with Russia.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because yesterday, I got a feeling that I don't know if it's just me or whatever, but I got a feeling that we're just putting ourselves out there too much, and we're making ourselves very thin when it comes to our military use and our military power.
I agree.
Because the United States now just made a statement and said that it will make its full use of its military capabilities, listen to this word, y'all, including nuclear, conventional, and missile defense, to defend its allies, Japan and South Korea. This is what the U.S. Deputy Secretary of State, Wendy Sherman, said yesterday as she warned that North Korea against escalating its provocations. and what she said was that North Korea's repeated firings of ballistic missiles and artillery in recent weeks were provocative military actions, and that North Korea has described them as practice runs for the use of tactical nuclear weapons. Well, didn't South Korea and the United States just do the same thing? They had their military drills, right? So, and this is just more nuclear talk. It's like the United States just is waiting for something to happen.
Yeah, it's very disappointing because we know that President Trump made really good progress with North Korea. He had that famous.
He called him Rocket Man.
Rocket Man.
Rocket Man.
He had that great.
Sent up rocket.
He had that great visit there. They weren't shooting any rockets, right? Because Trump made it clear, and people like to deal with a guy who's very clear and strong, and you know where he stands, and not all the bullshit and sneaky kind of bad behavior seeing from Biden and his cronies. So this is what you get. You get a world of chaos. You get a world on war.
We just keep preaching it every day. It's like, it's like it never stops. It's just like always something new. There was some other news that came out Wednesday, Moscow time, so it's Wednesday now, our time, and Russian President Vladimir Putin said on Wednesday that Russia was aware of Ukraine plans to use a dirty bomb, echoing a unsubstantiated allegation repeatedly made by Moscow in recent days. And speaking at a meeting with the intelligence chiefs of several former Soviet countries, Putin said that the risk of conflict in the world and region was very high, and that security should be heightened around the key infrastructure sites. You remember we showed you that video yesterday with it coming up out of the ground like that? Well, that's what they're talking about. And now Putin's talking about having key infrastructure, security around those particular sites. So I got to tell you, things are really heating up, and now Russia, I think, is doing it now, is doing these military drills as well with nuclear capability. So, I mean, I don't think the country's ever been so hot right now.
I don't remember any time in my life when we were having actual talks about, the potential of really using nuclear weapons in a real tangible way. I don't think there's ever been a time when people have been discussing this freely, where it's been on the table like this. This is really groundbreaking. It's really something that we've never seen, and people just take it for granted. Oh, no. People just going about their lives, but this is really the first time that there has been, even the time of the Soviet Union, when during the Cold War, you never really felt like things were actually this close.
No. And let me tell you, when President Trump was in office, I felt secure. I felt safe. I didn't feel like the United States was about to be invaded. I didn't feel like we were about to all be broke. I didn't feel like honestly, I didn't have any fear at all. In fact, things were going great. Now, I fear a lot of things. I fear going out on the streets at certain times that, even in the daytime. I see my electric bill not going down, and I was told that it would go down because it was hot, and the electric bill ain't going down. It's gone up. Electric is going up. Our taxes are going up. They keep talking about how we're going to get these checks. I keep looking for my check in the mail. I don't see no check. Rob, you sent me something last night, and I really delved into it. And we've been talking about this now for a while, about oil. And Saudi Arabia's now energy chief actually came out and said that nations shouldn't use emergency oil reserves to manipulate prices. Now, we're talking the head of the OPEC. These are people that are in this industry and in this business and know this business. And when they're coming out and saying that nations shouldn't use emergency oil reserves to manipulate prices, this is what he's warning. He says losing emergency stocks may be painful in months to come, is what this Saudi energy minister said.
It's supposed to be emergency for a reason, right?
Yeah.
It's for not. You're not supposed to put it out there just to lower the price so you can win an election.
Well, these
Which is what's happening
exactly, and these comments came as the U.S. just released millions of barrels from strategic reserves in 2022. We're at the lowest we've been in many years.
Yeah.
And this prince, Saudi Arabia's chief prince, I can't say his name. It's bin Salman, but he blasted nations' use of emergency oil reserves to manipulate prices and warning of more pain for energy markets in the event of future shortages. And, you know, Biden just signed off on this historic use of the U.S. Strategic Petroleum Reserves this year, releasing 180 million barrels of oil since April, with another 14 million barrels to be released this month. While the excess supply helped keep a lid on the energy, remember we talked about this earlier, it says just a Band-Aid. And then once that Band-Aid is taken off, prices are going to go back up. What did they do? They started going back up.
Yeah.
So what this is doing, it's putting oil markets under pressure is what's actually happening right now. So, and with the midterm elections, which is just 2 weeks away now, 2 more weeks, and it's getting heated up as well. Go ahead, Rob.
No, I was just going to say that a lot of these, countries like Saudi Arabia, China, Russia, large corporations like OPEC, they smell weakness. They see weakness. They see a massive divide between, the Republican Party and the Democratic Party, and it's an opportunity for them to actually take advantage of the situation. But you also have this moron, using, our emergency reserves as a manipulation tool, right?
Yeah.
It's, if I were in their position, right, and I had their mind state, I'd be doing the same exact thing.
Emergency supplies now are dwindling, with the SPR seeing its lowest levels of oil since 1984.
Crazy.
Wow.
It's crazy. And Forbes actually predicted that. Forbes said back in September that the releases could also lead to supply shortages in the future. And that's what the Saudi chief just warned.
Yeah.
And he said, listen to this, you guys. He said, it is my profound duty to make clear to the world that losing emergency stocks may be painful in the months to come. And he said this at a conference yesterday. And so I got a feeling we're going to be feeling even more pain. That's why I say 2023 is going to be a world of pain. It's going to be a year of pain that we're going to feel at the gas pumps. We're going to feel with electricity. We're going to feel with food. In other words, it's called inflation. It's called inflation. You guys got any input on that?
Well, we know how destructive inflation is. It's so corrosive to every aspect of society, and it takes the power away from people, and it shifts power. Like the whole COVID lockdowns, they took power from ordinary people and businesses, small businesses, and shifted it over to mega corporations, politicians. It's a power shift, and inflation it's a tax, and it changes everything. It basically makes it very, very hard for people to live any kind of decent life.
Let me change gears here for a minute. Have you guys heard of a guy by the name of Amon Bundy?
Yeah.
He's in Wyoming.
Idaho.
Yeah. That's right, Idaho. I don't even know where he's at.
Yeah.
Idaho.
Uh-huh.
I saw this video on Twitter, and I just have to share it, and then I'll get you guys' thoughts on this. Check this out. How you going to pay?
Yo.
He said he's going to get a U-Haul and help you move out of Idaho if you don't like it. That's pretty crazy. I wasn't advertising for him or anything, but when I saw it, I was like, wow. He says if I'm elected, they'll leave the state. They'll leave the state. And he begins in this new ad, I'm here to tell you, when I'm elected governor, Idaho will pay for your moving costs.
Well, that reminds me of the
That's pretty good.
2016 election when all the liberals said if Trump's elected, we're going to move out of the country, right? And, of course, none of them did, right? But I think a lot of that is just talk. They'll probably secretly happy that they're not going to be paying, the property taxes and the higher the income tax.
I mean, how would you not like that? I mean, that's insane. You don't have to pay any income tax, no property tax, anything. How does a state operate with no taxes?
Well, they have to have some source of revenue.
Yeah.
Right.
What are they going to raise it on?
Sales tax.
Maybe their sales tax is going to go higher or something.
Oh.
Those are the things you got to weigh on. I mean, look, you can't take all those things away and not have something to come back on.
Yeah, but you think about a place like California that has such high taxes, and it doesn't really have to be that way. Compare our tax we pay to Florida or Texas or Nevada, and it's insanely high. Like what we pay for gas, just the gas alone, I think we pay our gas is like $1 higher than most.
It's really high.
Most of the rest of the country, and that's all taxes.
Yeah,
that's what it is. It's taxes. So,
hey,
I don't think it has to be like super high tax is not the only alternative.
I want to ask you guys something because I really like this guy, and I think he might need some help. I don't know. I'm not in his camp, so I don't really know, but I do know that Kanye West has got a lot of issues going on right now, and I hate to see it because it looks like he could easily go broke within no time because you've got Adidas dropping him, Valencia dropping him, Vogue is dropping. Everyone is dropping him over these controversial remarks, and I understand he's saying a lot of crazy stuff, and I got a feeling that Kanye might be headed toward a nervous breakdown, and I really like this guy. I've always liked him because I like his conservative values, right? But then I go back and I'm like, why are all these Kardashian guys or these guys that are going around these Kardashians, why are they all having these mental breakdowns? So, and I'm going to tell you something. I looked into it, and you've got Kanye West, Tyga, Lamar Odom. Look what happened to Lamar Odom. Destroyed Lamar.
Lamar Odom, I'm just like, I'm pretty like, I'm not taking either side, but this is a case of weak mentality on the male side.
I disagree.
No, this is weakness.
I disagree.
This is weakness.
Listen, I got to disagree with you. And the reason I disagree with you, and I'm not wearing the love shirt today, I have to disagree. And the reason I disagree is because every single one of these guys that gets hooked up with a Kardashian, including Scott Disick, remember, look what happened to him. And there's even more and more. And if you notice, who flourishes after they're gone is them. And listen, let me just share something with you. Pete Davidson, for instance. Pete Davidson, who was just recently with Kim after she called it off with Kanye, it was kind of interesting. If she was in love with Kanye and she was married to him and she had his children and she birthed these children with him, it's like you dropped him immediately and then went with this guy named Pete Davidson. You went from black to white. And then you'll probably go back to black again. I don't know. But all I can tell you is that Pete Davidson reportedly, after he left Kardashian, he needed mental help over online harassment, supposedly from Kanye West.
Goes back to my point.
No.
They're mentally weak. They're mentally weak. That's what it is. They're not built. They're built different. Like, I honestly, I'm just, they're built like women. They're built with a weak mentality. Not to say women have a weak mentality, but they're just weak. They're built weak. Their mentality is just disgusting.
Look, I just want to say, if you or someone is considering suicide, then please contact the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 1-800-273-8255. Or you can even text STRENGTH to the crisis text line at 741-741, or go to suicidepreventionlifeline.org. And I'm being serious about that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I just wanted to add something. I think what Rob is saying, I have to agree with Rob on this, because the way I look at it is men can be sucked into women who are dark and destructive.
Oh, believe me, I know.
The poison of the black widow spider. The femme fatale, right? The dark feminine force, and that's a reality. And a lot of men get sucked into that. It's very alluring. It's very it's sweet.
It's almost like I call it the Kardashian curse.
You're getting swept in, and it's an all female. You think about it, they're all females, and they're
very powerful.
They're very powerful.
These particular listen, I am a firm believer that these Kardashian women, and I don't care if you got Kardashian people out there to hate me or not, but I believe that these Kardashian women are very powerful. But you got to remember how they became powerful. Kim Kardashian got caught with a sex tape with Ray J online, and it went all public. And she left that. Listen, I'm telling you something. These women, look at Kardashian. Kim Kardashian was what? What do they call her? She'd help people get dressed in clothes, stuff like that. I don't know what the name of it is for these kind of people. But she was a stylist. She was a stylist, and she'd always had these dreams of being like, Paris Hilton, who was her best bud, and still probably, and it still is from what I understand. But she used to work for Paris Hilton and the Hilton family, and now she's got if not as much money as the Hiltons. I mean, this girl's got billions of dollars now, right, or worth whatever the dollar amount is. But notice something: every single one of these guys that go with them end up losing their fortunes. And then they're dependent upon these Kardashian women. And remember, this Kardashian women, they now have children with every single one of them. The only one I've seen so far that's been successful is Travis Barker. I've seen him. He's doing pretty good with her. And they look like a good, they're a happy couple. But I'm not here to talk about matchmakers or anything. I'm not a matchmaker. I don't want to say that. I just am concerned for Kanye. And I don't know. I don't see anything good coming out of this unless he really starts to get some help. And God, somebody out there help this guy, because he needs it. I wish I could get a hold of him. I'd hypnotize him. But and Kardashians, I guess they're just going to keep on doing what they're doing. I mean, this woman, think about it. Kim Kardashian, I mean, her kids see their mom scantily clad and nothing, hardly wearing nothing all the time, right? So I'm sure the kids will come out probably similar. I said it. Anyway, we talked about the riddle yesterday, right? And I got so many comments on it. I want to share one. Let me just pull one up here real quick. One of them pulled. I wasn't sure what this person was talking about, and hold on, I'm going to pull it up here real quick. So it came out. They said, "Here we go." So I'll share the riddle again. So you're in a room that has 3 switches and a closed door, and the switches control 3 light bulbs on the other side of the door. And once you open the door, you can never touch those switches again. How can you definitely tell which switch is connected to each of the light bulbs? And this one said, call an electrician. Call an electrician. Another one said, oh, look at the light underneath the door. Well, the real answer,
That's a good answer.
the real answer, turn on the first two switches, leave them on for 5 minutes. Once 5 minutes has passed, turn off the second switch, leaving one switch on. Now, go through the door, and the light that is still on is connected to the first switch. Whichever of the other two is warm to the touch is connected to the second switch. The bulb that is cold is connected to the switch that was never turned on. That's your answer. Now, I got another one for you today. It's a shorter one. So, you guys ready for this one?
Ready.
All right, here we go. I speak without a mouth, and I hear without ears. I have no body, but I come alive with wind. What am I?
I come alive with wind.
Wind. What am I?
Say it again.
I speak without a mouth, and I hear without ears. I have no body, but I come alive with wind. What am I? What am I?
I speak without a mouth.
I speak without a mouth, and I hear without ears. I have no body, but I come alive with wind. What am I? There's a little hint there. That the hint is wind. It's almost like what's that show? Password. A password is. Well, we'll talk about it tomorrow. Send me in the comments. We'll talk about it tomorrow. I speak without a mouth, and I hear without ears. I have no body, but I come alive with wind. What am I? All right, we'll talk about it tomorrow. Listen, God bless every one of you. We'll see you tomorrow. We'll have some more news for you tomorrow. Hopefully have some good news for somebody tomorrow. It's just no good news out there. And listen, people have been asking me about Andy and his makeover, so I'm trying to get him to do it, but he just there we go. There's Romeo. So he just hasn't decided to move forward. You say hi, Ro. There you go. There's Romeo. Anyway, see you all tomorrow.